This is Olivia Osgood, and you are listening to the How to Quit Working Show. I'm glad that my mommy's an entrepreneur so that we get to spend lots of time together and she gets to homeschool me.
This is the How to Quit Working Show. Jeff Steinman believes entrepreneurship is the only true path to freedom. That's why he created the How to Quit Working Show, where you'll hear stories, insights, and inspiration from lifestyle fanatics who left their soul-sucking 9-to-5 job forever. Now, here's your host, author, entrepreneur, and ultimate lifestyle fanatic, Jeff Steinman.
Hello and welcome to the How to Quit Working Show. This is Heather Osgood, your host of the Friday episode of the How to Quit Working Show. I hope that your day is going really well, and I'm glad that you're here with us today. And before we get started on the show today, I want to make sure that you have had a chance to join the How to Quit Working Circle. It's super easy to join. All you have to do is go to howtoquitworking.com/circle, enter your email address and information, and we will get you all signed up. And you want to be part of the circle because the circle is kind of where the hub of the How to Quit Working community resides. You get access to our Facebook group, which is dynamic and constantly growing. So you'll have access to that. You also get access to a great series of video trainings that is really going to help propel you from where you're at to where you'd like to be. And we also do periodic live trainings, and you will be alerted of those. So make sure that you have signed up for that because it is a great place to be. And without further ado, I'm going to get into our topic for today. So today is a really exciting show for me because I'm going to talk to you about something that is really exciting and happening with me in my little corner of the coaching world. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about setting goals and accomplishing goals, and something in particular that has happened in my life. So I'm recording this on July, what is it? It's actually June 30th today, and we are coming up to July 4th, which is, obviously a very monumental celebration in the United States, and I'm really excited and proud to be part of this country. And every year we take a trip. It's about 5 hours east of us to go visit family for the 4th of July. And last year on the 4th of July, we did that trip, and I had sold my company, the one of the companies that I had really built up and was very proud of, and it was kind of this just big relief that I had kind of sold the company. I had gotten, to one of the goals in my life, and I was feeling, pretty relaxed and pretty chill. And we actually, at the beginning of July, set out for our first 1 month vacation as a family, and that was also a goal I had set. Was I really wanted to be able to spend a month just traveling with my family and kind of just experiencing what it would be like. I do have young kids, and so sometimes dreaming about traveling sounds like a lot of fun, and then you do it and it's not quite as much fun. But anyways, we were setting out on this big adventure, this big kind of journey, and it was going to kick off with the 4th of July celebration. So as we're driving this 5-6 hour drive east of us, I was like, obviously we're bored riding in the car, and my husband's like, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately, and I think that you should listen to them. I think you would really enjoy them. And to that point, I really hadn't listened to podcasts. I was, I had tried, and it was before I had a smartphone, and it just kind of felt real clunky and nothing really jived for me. And so it turned out, in my opinion, that it was way too much work to actually listen to them. But he had been going through some transformations in his entrepreneurial journey and had been turned on to podcasts, and he had been talking about them. So he's like, hey, I want you to listen to this one podcast. It's called Entrepreneur on Fire, and I think you're really going to like it. So we listened to several of the Entrepreneur on Fire interviews, and I was like, you know what? I can totally do this. And I looked at him and I said, you know what, Brian, I think I need to start a podcast. I think that I can just do it. I feel like I've got it in me. And, if this guy, John Lee Dumas, whoever that is, if he can do it, then I can do it. And So I was feeling pretty inspired to take the plunge. And that was a very, when I look back on my journey that I've had over the last year, it was a very defining moment for me. It was this kind of moment of clarity that happened where I realized that that's what I really, really wanted to do. And, after that, the wheels just really started turning, and I created, something that has been really awesome and really wonderful. And what I am so excited to tell you is that we are going to be headed for our 4th of July celebration in the same place that we always go. And we're going to have that 5 or 6 hour journey. And as we're driving on that 5 or 6 hour journey, we're going to be listening to Entrepreneur on Fire. But what is really exciting to me is I am going to be interviewed on Entrepreneur on Fire. So on that exact same trip, a year later, I am going to have really hit this monumental goal for myself to have said a year ago that I could do this, that, I could be on Entrepreneur on Fire and I could be profiled, and then actually to have it happen is really, really exciting to me. So I want to talk to you a little bit today about what it's like to really formulate goals and what it's like to achieve the goals. And I just want to challenge you. I want you to think about just expanding your thought process and expanding all of the opportunities and everything that is possible for you, and really just letting go of your inhibitions, letting go of your fears, your trepidation, and just diving in and experiencing what life is like when you kind of live out there, pushing yourself every day to accomplish your goals and your dreams. So really, just thinking about the process, I want to recommend first and foremost that you set goals. Part of the reason that I have been able to accomplish things in my career and in my entrepreneurial life is because I have set goals. I have said, okay, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to do it. This is when I'm going to do it by. This is how much I'm going to make. And does it always turn out perfectly? Of course not. Wouldn't it be great if it did? But it doesn't. It doesn't turn out perfectly. But what happens is when you actually have that goal in front of you, you know what you're striving for. I'll never forget, it was the very beginning of my sales career. I had the pleasure of listening to Jack Canfield speak. He came to our local Chamber of Commerce. I'm sure that was before he was the person that he is today. He probably wasn't quite as well known. And he spoke to us, and he brought this book called The Power of Focus. And that book had such a huge impact on my career because I read it, I digested it, I listened to him, and he just made so many really, really good points. And the whole message of that book is that when you focus, you can create great things. And at that moment, that was the first time in my life that I said, you know what? I need to set clear, measurable goals. I need to, at the first of every year, once a month review, quarterly update, I need to be really, really focused on what exactly it is that I want to create in my life. And, of course, it was a huge process, and I would set goals, but then I wouldn't write them down, or I would set goals and they wouldn't be specific and measurable. And there's a huge process that you go through. But it is such a rewarding feeling when you have these written goals, for you to look over those goals, for you to see what they are, and then say, oh my gosh, I did that, and I did that, and I did that. And going down the list and looking at what you've actually achieved and recording your achievements allows you to really understand what you actually have accomplished. And what happens a lot of times in our society is that we're so fast-paced, we're so bright and shiny object, what's next, constantly looking ahead. It's like, well, my goal is to make $50,000 a year, and once you make 50, then all of a sudden your goal is to make 100, and once your goal is 100, then your goal is to make 150, and once you make 150, then your goal is to make 200, and on and on and on it goes. Like, there is not that point of satisfaction. So we're always forward striving, and that forward striving is really good and really important. But it's so important to look at what it is that you want to accomplish, to set those goals, and then keep yourself accountable and on this path to actually getting what you want. The other thing that I have found is that there are kind of different levels of goals. And if you're able to break them down, it is really, really helpful. Now, if you had said, for sure, Heather, in a year, you're going to be an entrepreneur on fire, I would have been like, yeah, maybe, I don't know if I could actually do that. But for me, it was a big goal. And, it's the same thing with business ownerships. Like with the businesses I've owned before I started them, if you would have said, oh gosh, Heather, you're going to have a company that's doing nearly $1 million in sales. You're going to be running this organization with all of these employees with, thousands of clients, I would have been like, I don't know if I could do that. But it's the ability to kind of dream big and to set these big dreams and these big goals. And to me, the really big ones kind of fall into the dream category. It's you dreaming. It's you thinking about, wouldn't it be great if I had that? And I really believe that dreaming is what fuels the actual achievable goals that you're going to accomplish. So I like to think about my goals in layers. And the first top layer is just the dream layer, the layer where I say, I want to think big and I want to imagine what life would be like. I want to imagine what life would be like if I traveled the country and I did a ton of speaking engagements and, I had clients all over the country and all over the world. That's kind of like a high level dream. And then once you get down from the high level dream, you say, okay, so the first step in that dream is I've got to put my training wheels on. So I've got to get the first level of my business going. And then once I get the first level of my business going, then I can take it to level 2 and level 3 and level 4. And for me, it's important to integrate all of the pieces of my life. And what I have discovered as an entrepreneur is that it is so different from employment, because when you're employed, you have this compartmentalization. You go to work, you're at work, you're focused on work tasks, and then you come home. Because in most cases, your employer doesn't want you to integrate your family into your work life. They want you to be theirs. So when you're at work, they want you to be there, present, focused on what their agenda and what their goals are. And when you're a business owner, there's this wonderful integration of, okay, I'm working on my business creation tasks and, oh, now my child needs something, or now I'm going to go to lunch with my husband, or I'm going to go exercise at the gym at 10 o'clock because that class is way less crowded than the early morning one is, or whatever it may be. You just have this fluidity to your life, and it really allows you to kind of breathe, in my opinion. It allows you to have the space that you need to be a person and to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish while, maintaining an income. And so as I set my goals, I like to think about, obviously, my business creation goals, my income creation goals, but then I also break it down into what are my family goals, what are my personal goals, what are my spiritual goals, what are my physical fitness goals, my community volunteer goals. So, I think about all of that, and I want to integrate it all together, because at the end of the day, I'm a whole person just as you are. And there isn't this, delineation between where your work starts and where you, are a mom, or where you are a husband, or a wife, a father. Those are all things that are all very integrated into who you are as a person. So for me, setting those goals in specific sections helps me to really address every single issue of my life. The other thing that I think is huge is getting an accountability partner. I've been fortunate to have a friend actually from high school, and he and I email each other every month, and we say, these are our goals. What did you do? What did you not do? And we've been doing it for several years now, and it's a lot of fun. It's number one, it's really fun for me to watch what he's accomplished and what he's got going on. And number two, it's great to have somebody to be able to, know that I've got some accountability. And we're supposed to email our goals at the first of the month. And, when you get to the 10th of the month and you're like, oh no, I haven't emailed my goals. There's also that weight on your chest that that you really should be, just being held accountable. And it's nice too to have somebody say, well, gosh, I think that maybe, going on a date with your spouse really is important. Maybe you should put that up there, or maybe you need to actually have that happen, or, you said you were going to read 2 books a month and it looks like you've only read 1 book and it's been 6 months or whatever, like just having that person that is there and holding you accountable makes a huge difference. And then I have found that the frequent reviewing of your goals is really, really important. I run into people all the time who say, I don't set New Year's resolutions because I don't keep them. And of course, why would you want to set New Year's resolutions if you're not going to keep them? If you're not going to do, what it is that you said you were going to do, that's not a lot of fun. That just makes you feel defeated and discouraged. So I don't ever set New Year's resolutions either, but I do set goals for my year. And then I review those goals on a monthly basis. And I say, what did I accomplish and what didn't I accomplish? And when I don't review my goals on a regular basis, they become detached from me and I don't focus on them. I don't think about them. And so it's really, really important to have that. So think about that. And then the other thing that I want you to really, really think about, one of my favorite sayings, and you guys probably have heard this a lot if you've been listening to the show or coaching with me, but you have to be really, really dedicated to your outcome, but you need to be flexible as to your approach. So I want to dive back into my personal story here for just a minute and say that when I heard that podcast a year ago, when I heard Entrepreneur on Fire, and when it clicked with me that I was like, I could totally do this, this is right up my alley. I wanted to start a podcast. And if you are interested in starting a podcast, which I'm sure probably some of you listening are, it can be a little bit daunting. You're like, okay, I'm committing to this. And am I talking about, am I looking at reaching the right person? Am I talking about the right information? Is anybody going to listen to my show if I put it on? There's a million different questions that arise in your mind. And I really wanted to start my own podcast. And it's been a really, really interesting journey because I was able to connect with Jeff Steinman here at the How to Quit Working program. And now every week I have a podcast. But you know what? It doesn't look the way I thought it would look. I thought I would be doing things in a certain way and in a certain order. And it's different than I thought it would be. But you know what? In some ways, it's a lot better than I thought it would be because I've been able to, really just absorb what's happening here in the How to Quit Working program. I've been able to just hopefully add to the value that Jeff was already offering to the world and to this community. And it's been a much easier journey for me because I am not into all the technical stuff. That all just is not my favorite thing in the world. And I don't have to worry about any of that. I don't have to stress about, how do I get this, up on iTunes, or, how do I make sure that people are listening to the show, or, whatever. I don't need to stress about all of the details of the show. I just have the responsibility of looking back at all that I've learned in my life and sharing with you the methods, the techniques, the systems that have worked really well for me, and really just helping coach you through the process and getting you to where you want to be. The other thing that was really interesting to me, and I think happens a lot, is there are a lot of people who say, well, I want to start a podcast. And I think because we kind of associate podcasts with broadcast medium, as we should, we automatically go to the idea that the podcast is going to generate income. And I sold radio advertising for a number of years. I get the broadcast industry. I understand how it works. And let me tell you what, most people, 99% of the people online don't make any money from a podcast because it's a totally different animal than broadcast mediums are. And people go into podcasting thinking that the podcast is going to, in some way, generate money for them, just as blogs have generated money for people. But like the blog scenario now, I talk to clients all the time who are like, well, I want to start a blog and I'm going to make money from it. The reality is I think I heard recently there's like 3 million blogs out there. The chance that you're going to start a blog tomorrow and make money at it are really, really slim. And it's different. Your platform is totally different now. When people started blogging and when people started making a lot of money on blogging, there weren't that many blogs out there. And it's kind of the same thing with podcasts. When some of these big fish out there, and it hasn't been that long, but you have to remember that technology is moving really, really quickly now. So even though maybe it's only been 2-3 years since some of the big podcasters started their podcasts and are now making, a ton of money at them, they were kind of the first to the party. And sometimes that is what you need to be. You need to be that first one there. And so as you're looking at kind of developing things, think about, really is this actually what it is that you want to create, or is it possibly just a marketing stream that is going to lead to more clients in your business? And so what I mean by that is, as a podcast itself sitting there out in cyberspace makes zero money. You have to create something for people to buy in order for the podcast to be a money maker. And thus the podcast isn't what is actually making you money. The product you're selling is what's making you money. And it's the same thing with a blog. The blog really isn't going to make you any money. Could you get a lot of readers on your blog, and could it be a tremendous marketing source? Of course it could. But really, that's just what it is. It's a marketing source. So it's like that with all these kind of different facets of your business. And so it's really important for you to kind of look down at the root of how you're actually going to make money in business. And so for me, looking at my story and my journey, when I thought I wanted to start a podcast, I thought, just as many of you probably do, that I could make money podcasting. But the reality is that you can't really make money podcasting. That's not really what the purpose of podcasting is. So I was able to kind of morph what I was doing and take that journey and take that process. So now here I am working with Jeff Steinman, loving it, working with a ton of wonderful entrepreneurs who are interested in starting businesses or who have businesses. And I have been blessed on a daily basis that I get to do coaching. It is by far one of my very favorite activities that I have done in my life. And I just know that in terms of myself and my goal, that coaching is always going to play a huge, huge role in my career and in my business development forever. I don't ever see that going away, because I just enjoy helping other people so much. And I enjoy watching people grow and change. And to me, business creation is the ultimate in creativity. So if you're going to create a business, I feel like it's an art form, and watching other people out there just really succeed and strive and push themselves beyond their limits is huge for me. And so, this path that I have been on has been varied. It hasn't gone the exact way that I thought it would. And I'm okay with that. And part of it is just really kind of having that adaptability, being really attached to your outcome. So my outcome was that I wanted to start another business. That's where I was. I was in a place where I was like, okay, I'm ready. I want to start another business. I want to do something. Oh, podcasting, that sounds great. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute. All my friends and family ask me constantly for advice on running their businesses. I absolutely have loved coaching experiences I've had. Maybe it's time for me to get certified and become a coach myself. And ta-da, and so it's just part of what's happening in your life. And you have to just think about it as kind of this growing and moving organism, and that is who you are. There's very, very infrequently in life a pattern or a system that you can create and follow, and it's going to happen exactly the way you thought it would, because life is just not that way. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know, when there's going to be a drought. You don't know when there's going to be a flood. You don't know when a recession is going to hit, or when maybe a loved one is going to pass on. You don't know all the time when, you're going to have a child. Life is varied, and you have to be adaptable and you have to be flexible. But you need to still be attached to really accomplishing that outcome. And I want to kind of leave you with this thought that it's really, life is about the journey. It's about the ride. And, we all have the striving mentality. We all have the idea that we're going to get there at some point. And at some point, I always imagine it's like at some point you're going to get to where you want to be, and the heavens are just going to open up, and all of this sunlight's going to pour down on you, and you're going to be like, hey, I got to where I wanted to be, and everything in life is perfect now. But that's just not reality. That's not what we're here for. We're not here to have this perfect life and have this perfect journey. We're here to be sculpted and molded and to really plug into the essence of what we are and what we were created to be. And I want you to really think about that, because if you're in a kind of a stormy season of your life, if you're feeling like you're going through maybe more trials than you wish that you're facing, or maybe you're in a really great place in life, maybe things are just turning around. I've been so blessed by some of the people in our Facebook circle who are sharing their stories of success, and getting a new client, starting out brand new and having 4 new clients within the first month. Like, those things are just awesome. And maybe that's you. Maybe you're in this place where you're just feeling so empowered, and you're just ready to take on the world. So it doesn't really matter where you're at. Yeah, is it fun to be in the stormy season of life? Of course not. It's horrible. And is it great to be in the empowered place? Of course, it's wonderful. But it's all about just being present and really, extending as much love to those around you as you can, and really just supporting those around you. And one of the mantras that I've had my life is that if I help the people around me get what they want, then I will get what I want. And, really that's all that business ownership is about, is creating something that is allowing those around you to get what it is that they need. And whether it's a product that they really need, whether it's a service that they really need. I got back into the gym this morning after working remotely for a while, and it was a torturous experience, but I need that. They're providing such a huge service for me. And, and I need the farmers markets where I can, buy awesome produce, and I need all of the people around me who are providing services, and you are in that place too. So if you're thinking about starting a business, you're in that place where you have the capability of creating something that could change someone's life, and maybe it will change someone's life for 10 minutes, and maybe it'll change somebody's life forever. You don't know. But when you're really focused on serving others, you're going to really be elevated in where you're at. And if nothing else, it's just going to be super rewarding for you to know that you are helping those around you. And so I know I've been kind of in and out and all over the place today, but I'm just really excited that it has been a year for me. And I feel like I have just accomplished so much in this year, and I have helped so many people, and I am looking forward to next week helping more people, next month, next year, in the next 5 years, the next 10 years. I know that I have a lot to offer this world, and I know that you have a lot to offer this world too. And if you're keeping yourself closed up, if you're not allowing yourself to really be out there, and if you're not allowing yourself to really be the person that you are and live at your best and be your best, if you are, just plucking along in life, if you're just, not really going anywhere, I want to encourage you right now to just break out of the rut that you're in and really set some dynamic goals. Who cares if it's July? It doesn't have to be January to set goals. I want you to get out, and I want you to set some really specific, measurable goals. And when I say specific, measurable goals, I don't mean like, I want to quit my job. That's not a specific, measurable goal. Saying, I'm going to create this business producing this amount of money by this date, and then I'm going to quit my job on this date. That's a specific, measurable goal. So I want you to really think about setting something that you can sink your teeth into, something that is going to be specific and measurable, that you know that you have actually accomplished it. Because when you set those, it really helps, like we were saying, get to that place where you are feeling so accomplished and so confident about your ability to succeed in life. I want you to think about really adjusting your mindset. I want you to think about absorbing everything that's happening around you, and really just persevering through life on a daily basis, knowing that you can love those around you, that you can serve those around you, and really provide the ultimate in service through a business. if you're in a place right now and you're thinking, that sounds so awesome, I would love, love, love to do that, I want to encourage you to reach out to me. I would love to have a conversation with you. I'm really interested in what it is that you specifically have going on in your journey. And, I'd really love to talk about coaching with you. Coaching is an absolutely tremendous experience. And the reason that I'm a coach today is because I have had some wonderful, wonderful coaches in my life, and they have helped guide me and direct me. And when I was feeling down in the dumps or stressed out or excited or inspired, they have always helped take me to the next level. And I don't know what I would be like in my career if I didn't have the coaches that I've had. And if you're thinking that you're really, really ready to just dive in, if you're ready to have the experience that you know that you should have as a business owner and kind of leave that compartmentalized job behind and really integrate who you are with everything around you, all of your joys, your hobbies, your passions, your family, your people. If you want that integration, it is time for you to start a business, and I can promise you it will be the adventure of your life. Please give me a call, email me. I'd love to talk to you. Have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you next week.
Thanks for joining us on the How to Quit Working show. Tune in next time when we'll talk to another amazing person just like you who is now living the ultimate life of freedom and doing it on their terms. If you want to learn how to quit working and get these episodes delivered directly to you, visit howtoquitworkingshow.com.